It's you. I don't know if it's coming in the...
Mr. President, distinguished members of the European Parliament, right now in Belarus, there are more political prisoners than members of this chamber assembled here today. 882 of my fellow citizens have been recognized to be in prison for exercising basic political rights people in the rest of Europe take for granted. If we invite all of the Belarusians unjustly imprisoned for the wrong color of their dress or socks, even 4 halls like this one wouldn't be enough room. On behalf of them and fellow Belarusians who believe in freedoms this union represents, I speak to you today. Among them are my husband, Sergei, and my friend, Maria Kolesnikova. Among them is also Ales Belyatsky. Just 1 year ago, he was with us at the European Parliament receiving the Sakharov Prize for freedom of thought. Ales returned home and half a year later was arrested for his work at the Human Rights Center Vesna. The case of Ales shows that the Belarusian crisis is much closer to all of us than it might seem. Just recently, Ales was here for all to greet and congratulate, and now he is behind bars. Belarusians are no longer safe in their country and abroad, and neither, in this case, are other Europeans. As we have seen, the regime in Belarus has shown itself willing to seize individuals from international flights, misuse international agencies and agreements to punish dissent, to weaponize migrants in a way deliberately designed to undermine the stability and security of Europe that has only grown more abusive. But has the world seen Europe standing with us in support of our shared values, our freedom, and our dignity? We saw that Europe can not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk. In November, the tensions at the Belarusian-Polish border reached a boiling point. Thousands of foreign citizens taken hostage by the regime have come to the focus of the EU. Phone calls have been exchanged to elevate their conditions, but at the same time, 9 million Belarusians remain hostages of the regime. Supposing this abuse of migrants is somehow stopped, do you really believe the regime's threats beyond its borders will end there? Meanwhile, Europe hesitates. Time goes by for those unjustly imprisoned, killed, or exiled. Time is measured differently for Belarusians. It's measured in lost moments of happiness, moments that are the right of every one of us to experience, moments that are the reason why all of us want to live in freedom and dignity, moments that Belarusians are deprived of. For me, those would be moments when my daughter Agnia might see the loving face of her father Sergei seeing her off on her first day of school. Moments when my son Kornei could feel the support of a father who helps him to fix his bicycle. For other mothers, like Dasha Losik, Volga Zolotarь, Alena Bondarenko, time is measured in tears. When you don't know if your husband is still alive, when you are behind bars and you have no news about your 5 children, when all is left of your child is a framed photograph with a black ribbon, because they beat him to death when he asked them not to remove the white, red, white ribbons hung in his backyard. Ladies and gentlemen, do you think these people understand what we mean when we talk about the EU's long bureaucratic processes and complex diplomacy? Do you think our statements of deep concern give them hope and confidence? What can the European Union really say to the people of Belarus, to the forgotten Europeans who want the same things the rest of Europe enjoys? Perhaps we don't have a right to demand your help or support. Perhaps you may refuse us because it may contradict your national interests, or perhaps it's bad for your businesses. But I'm here to ask for your support nevertheless. Pardon my straightforwardness, but I must say it. It's getting late. Since August 2020, there have been ample gestures and expressions of solidarity. Belarusians were praised for reigniting their faith in democracy and human dignity. We need Europe to be more proactive when facing autocracy. The cliché about Belarus being the last dictatorship of Europe is in a way misleading. Dictatorship doesn't have natural geographical limits. It spreads if it's not stopped. Dictatorships, after all, can be compared to a virus infecting the body. To successfully overcome a virus, a three-part strategy can help. First, isolation, to prevent its spread. Second, treatment, to remove its negative effects. And last but not least, the immunity, which allows keeping the body in good shape. The same strategies can be applied by Europe when dealing with the virus of dictatorship in Belarus. The first part of our strategy should be the isolation and non-recognition of the regime. Lukashenko is gambling with Belarus sovereignty. We must stay firm in non-recognition policy and be clear that independence and sovereignty cannot be traded or undermined. This non-recognition should be coherent. New ambassadors to Belarus shouldn't be appointed. Nor should anyone who respects freedom, human rights, and the rule of law receive the regime's ambassadors. The second part of our strategy is treatment. We should push back on the regime and limit its access to the resources it uses to maintain power. Let me assure you, sanctions do work. Continue holding a consistent sanction policy. Sanctions split the elites, destroy corruption schemes, and divide people around Lukashenko, as no one wants to share the responsibilities for the regime's crimes. The third part of our strategy is immunity. We need to boost the natural resistance and backbone of Belarusian society. I call on Europe to expand assistance to our people. Let's not forget the Belarusian prisoners of conscience and their families. Do not let the regime manipulate the migrant smuggling in order to obscure the human rights catastrophe inside the country. Both Belarusians and migrants are now hostages of the regime. I'm here today to invite you to walk this path with us. Thank you very much. And живе Беларусь, живе Europa. Long live Belarus and long live Europe.